Light pollution is bad for science. An obvious example of ways in which light pollution hurts science is in astronomy. It's no secret that light pollution blots out the stars in the sky. This means that astronomers need to find places far from civilization to build telescopes. As far back as the 1930s, light pollution has affected where astronomers can build an observatory. Then, plans to upgrade the Mount Wilson Observatory just outside Los Angeles failed when planners realized that the area had become too light polluted, so they had to put the big telescope somewhere else. Today, there are increasingly few places where an observatory can be built, especially given that ideal conditions for an observatory do not exclusively depend on lighting. They also depend on seeing, or how much the atmosphere distorts the view of the sky in a given area. This retreat in impossible observatory locations causes more problems. You may remember from a few years ago the protests over the 30-meter telescope, which astronomers were attempting to build on the mountain Mauna Kea, which is a sacred place in native Hawaiian cosmology. It seems that today, the astronomers are attempting to move forward in a way that includes indigenous voices, but it would have been better if the astronomers avoided this in the first place by finding somewhere else to build the telescope. Unfortunately, the somewhere else is a swiftly dwindling short list of locations. It seems that soon, observatories will only be able to be put in space. While there have been multiple successful space-based telescopes, notably the Hubble Space Telescope and the James Webb Space Telescope, these observatories are very competitive to get observing time on, even compared to other observatories, which are famously competitive to get viewing time at, and it would not be sustainable to have enough telescopes in space for every astronomer to get the telescope time that they need for their research. A decrease in acceptable locations for observatories on Earth means a decrease in astronomy research, and while I think that the wonder of the cosmos is justification enough for the importance of astronomy research, this is a matter of life and death, too. If an asteroid is going to hit the Earth and no one on Earth can detect it on time, we're screwed. However, astronomy isn't just for professional astronomers. Many discoveries in astronomy have been made by amateurs. Of course, stargazing can be a nice activity for anyone. The scarce literature on how light pollution impacts science focuses exclusively on astronomy, but that doesn't mean that astronomy is the only field of science that light pollution harms. Much research has noted the effects that light pollution has on wildlife and ecosystems. If there is no escape from light pollution, this will affect the results that ecologists and wildlife biologists find, and research on the natural world beyond the impact of humanity is important too. Admittedly, light pollution is not the only thing impacting their research, given that we're living through the Anthropocene and the sixth mass extinction, but that doesn't lessen the impact of artificial lighting. Finally, I suspect that light pollution can also harm optics, which is the branch of physics that happens in laser labs. I am a student of physics, and in my training as a physicist, I have spent time working with detectors that are very sensitive to light and can only work in a dark room. Admittedly, it seems unlikely that light pollution could impact optics when such experiments happen behind closed doors and in blackout curtains, and in fact, often happen when there's broad daylight outside the building. However, sometimes it seems that in the future there will be no escape from the encroaching increase of light pollution.